Okay, so you want to own a casino, buy the building, hire some dealers, watch the chips come in, and look, on paper, this seems like the closest thing to a legal money printer that exists in the modern world. Las Vegas casinos pull in over $60 billion in gaming revenue every single year across the United States. Macau, a tiny peninsula off the coast of southern China, once generated $45 billion in a single year from gambling alone. Some casino owners become billionaires. Some of the most recognizable skylines in the world were paid for by chips, cards, and slot machines. The answer to that question is the entire point of what you are about to read, because the house edge is real. The math is airtight. And yet, the Revel Casino in Atlantic City opened in 2012, cost $2.4 billion to build, and was sold 2 years later at auction for $82.4 million. Less than 4 cents on every dollar spent. By the time we are done here, you will understand exactly where every dollar goes inside a casino, and why the biggest gamble in the building does not belong to the players. Start here, because most people get this wrong from the beginning. A casino does not sell games. Games are just the mechanism. What a casino actually sells is a feeling, and then it converts that feeling into cash. Specifically, it sells entertainment, excitement, hope, luxury, and time. That is the product. The blackjack table, the slot machine, the roulette wheel, those are just the tools that transform the customer's emotional state into a revenue stream. When someone walks onto a casino floor, they are not buying a bet. They are buying a temporary experience of possibility. They are purchasing a few hours where anything could happen. The game simply makes sure that, on average, when those hours end, the house has a little more money than when they started. Understanding this reframes everything else. The hotel, the restaurants, the concerts, the shops, none of that is decoration. All of it is part of the same machine. Every dollar a guest spends on a room or a meal extends the amount of time they spend inside the building. And time is the casino's most important raw material. Now let's talk about what it costs to get into this business. And this is where the first cold bucket of water arrives. You cannot build a serious casino for cheap. Full stop. A small regional card room in a secondary market, the kind of operation in a mid-sized American city that caters to locals, will run somewhere between $15 million and $50 million to develop. That gets you a slot floor, some basic table games, and a parking lot. No hotel, no restaurant worth mentioning. And in a secondary market, you will be competing with other regional casinos, state lotteries, and increasingly online gambling apps on every smartphone within a 50-mile radius. Step up to a real regional integrated resort, the kind with a hotel tower, a few restaurants, a conference space, and you are looking at $200 million to $600 million. American Place, a major casino development currently underway in the United States, is projecting over $300 million in capital expenditure just for its permanent facility. And if you want to build what the industry actually means when it says casino, a Las Vegas-style mega resort with multiple hotel towers, a concert venue, luxury retail, high-capacity restaurants, a convention center, and a genuine destination experience. You are starting at $1.5 billion. Marina Bay Sands in Singapore cost $5.6 billion when it opened in 2010. The expansion currently being constructed is budgeted at $8 billion more. The land premium alone on that expansion is $2 billion before a single beam is placed. Why does it cost this much? Because everything is a premium line item. The HVAC systems alone on a modern casino, the systems that keep millions of square feet of gaming floor at a constant, comfortable temperature 24 hours a day, require specialized industrial equipment that recovers and reconditions air continuously. The surveillance infrastructure involves thousands of cameras, servers, and proprietary tracking software. The hotel rooms require luxury-grade finishes. The kitchens need to produce food at scale, at speed, around the clock. You are not building a building. You are building a city that never closes. Here is the part that never appears in the headline cost of a new casino: the license. Without a gaming license, your billion-dollar building is an extremely expensive parking garage. The license is the permission slip from the government that transforms your real estate into a revenue-generating machine. And obtaining that permission is neither quick nor cheap. In New York State, which recently began accepting applications for downstate casino licenses, the application fee alone is non-refundable and set at $1 million. The minimum capital investment required to even be considered is $500 million. And the licensing fee, the payment you make to the government simply for the right to operate, is $500 million. That is before you build a single thing. Beyond the financial requirements, licensing involves years of regulatory investigation. Your finances are audited, your business history is examined. Every major investor, every senior executive, every significant vendor is subjected to background checks. Regulators are looking for any connection to organized crime, any history of financial fraud, any suggestion that the people running this operation cannot be trusted with a facility that processes hundreds of millions of dollars in cash. And once you have the license, you have to keep it. That means continuous compliance, internal audit teams, anti-money laundering programs, suspicious activity reporting, and annual regulatory fees. If you fail to maintain compliance, the government does not just fine you, they take the license. And the moment that license is gone, the building goes back to being a very expensive parking garage. Once you are open, here is how your revenue breaks down. Gaming, slot machines, table games, poker, sports betting is the core business. But in a modern integrated resort on the Las Vegas Strip, gaming now accounts for somewhere between 40 and 45% of total revenue. The rest comes from everything else. Hotel rooms generate around 18 to 20%. Restaurants and bars bring in another 18 to 20%. Entertainment, retail, conference space, and parking make up the remainder. MGM Resorts, one of the largest casino operators in the world, consistently demonstrates this balance across its Las Vegas properties. This is a crucial structural fact. A major Las Vegas casino is not primarily a gambling business anymore. It is a full-scale hospitality company that also happens to have a casino floor. And this matters because it means your profitability is exposed to multiple industries simultaneously. Hotel occupancy, food costs, entertainment ticket sales, and convention bookings all affect your bottom line, not just what happens on the gaming floor. Of the gaming revenue that does come in, the majority comes from one source that most people underestimate: slot machines. In the United States, slot machines generate between 60 and 80% of total gaming revenue across most commercial jurisdictions. Not because they are more exciting. Because of the math, a live blackjack table requires a trained dealer, a floor supervisor, a chip runner, and a pit boss. It processes roughly 80 hands per hour with 4 or 5 players. It takes up significant floor space. A slot machine requires almost no staff. It processes 600 to 720 spins per hour. It occupies a fraction of the floor space of a table, and it runs continuously, day and night, without a break. The labor cost ratio is the critical difference. Table games are staff-intensive businesses with variable cost structures. Slot floors are capital-intensive businesses with minimal labor overhead. Once the machine is paid for, it prints money, quietly, constantly, and at a predictable mathematical rate. Modern slot machines are also designed to keep players in their seats longer through a technique called losses disguised as wins. A player bets $2 across 20 pay lines. The machine pays back 60 cents on 2 of those lines. Lights flash. Music plays. The screen celebrates. The player has experienced a net loss of $1.40, but their brain registered a win. Research shows that players subjected to these outcomes significantly extend their playing time because the machine's audiovisual feedback overrides their rational accounting. The house is not just relying on mathematics. It is using the design of the experience to extend the volume of bets. And volume is how the house edge becomes real money. Here is the core engine of the entire business. Every game on a casino floor is mathematically structured so that the expected return to the house is positive over a large number of bets. This is not luck. This is arithmetic. On a European roulette wheel, there are 37 pockets, numbers 1 through 36, plus a single 0. A player bets $100 on a single number. The odds of winning are 1 in 37. The payout is 35 to 1. Run the math. The player wins $100 times 35, which is $3,500, with a probability of 1 in 37. They lose $100 with a probability of 36 in 37. The expected value of that bet is negative $2.70. That is a house edge of 2.7%. On an American wheel with a double zero, the edge rises to 5.26%. On a triple zero wheel, increasingly common in high-traffic tourist areas of Las Vegas, the edge is 7.69%. The house edge on the banker bet in Baccarat is 1.06%. The pass line in craps carries an edge of 1.41%. Blackjack, played with perfect strategy under the most player-friendly rules available, can be reduced to a house edge of 0.42%. But here is what operators have quietly been doing for years. They have been changing the rules. The most significant shift is the blackjack payout. Traditionally, a natural blackjack, being dealt an ace and a 10 value card, paid 3 to 2. A $100 bet returned $150. Thousands of casinos have now quietly switched to a 6 to 5 payout, where the same $100 bet returns only $120. That single rule change increases the house edge by 1.4%. It sounds small. Multiply it by hundreds of thousands of hands dealt every day, and it is worth tens of millions of dollars in additional revenue annually. Small advantage. Millions of bets, massive profits. At the top of the customer pyramid sits the high roller, the VIP. The person who walks into a private salon, sits down at a baccarat table, and wagers $10 million over a weekend. Casinos spend enormous amounts of money to attract these individuals. Private jet transfers, luxury villa accommodations, personal hosts available around the clock, complimentary credit lines, cashback arrangements. Some of the largest casino companies in the world fly high rollers from Asia to Las Vegas and back, absorb every expense, and consider it a marketing investment. And here is the uncomfortable truth about this segment. A single high roller on a hot streak can ruin your quarterly earnings. This is not an exaggeration. The baccarat variance at very high bet sizes mean that one player can win $20 or $30 million in a single weekend purely through statistical fluctuation. That outcome is within the normal range of variance at those stake levels. And when it happens, it shows up directly on the casino's financial statements. This is why operators in Las Vegas and Singapore use a direct credit model. They issue legal counterchecks called markers directly to the high roller, allowing them to play on credit. If the high roller wins and leaves, the casino absorbs the loss. If the high roller loses and cannot pay, the casino has a collections problem that sometimes ends up in court. In Macau, for decades, the VIP business was managed through junket operators, independent promoters who sourced wealthy Chinese players, extended credit to bypass capital controls, and collected debts. The casino paid the junket a commission of up to 1.25% of total rolling chip turnover. It worked until it did not. Beijing cracked down on capital outflows, launched corruption investigations that scared away wealthy players, and passed gaming reforms in 2022 that dismantled the junket system entirely. Overnight, Macau's VIP revenue